to my cutie, smart, and well-talented grade 6 pupils. This is your teacher Emily again, now signing in. So hello to everyone! I hope you all doing good today and ready for this day activity. Make yourself comfortable and make sure you are wholly ready. Today, we will have a very colorful day. That's why I want you to put all your worries away and start your day with this art and craft project. If you remember in our discussion last meeting, we've tackled about printmaking, am I right? Since printmaking is much more complicated because we don't have enough supplies and materials or tools and equipments, instead of printmaking, we will be having an activity called tie-dye. Are you familiar with tie-dye, kids? I do hope so. So let's make this quick and easy. Just stay tuned, listen and watch to what teacher Emily will going to teach you. I am going to demonstrate how to do tie-dye. So, watch and learn. Before you can start dyeing, gather some supplies and materials. First and foremost, you'll need the dye itself and some fabrics to dye. Then, you'll need to gather some tools and safe materials. Here's what you'll need for this project. First, fabric reactive dyes in assorted colors. In my case, I will use the Venus brand because it is the most affordable and most convenient. I have here color black, blue, yellow, red, and pink. Then, of course, one of the most important to have is fabrics, just like sweatshirts, t-shirts, and socks. And then, we will be using rubber bands or any strong strings as long as it can hold the fabric right after folding. Then, we have squeeze bottles to apply the dye or to mix the dye. Then, we have basins, or you can use buckets. This is to dip the items in dye. Then, plastic tablecloths, or we can use large trash bags. This is to cover the surface where you are going to work. Let's say, for example, table. Then you can use this one to cover the whole surface so that there will be no stains. Then, wire rack. This is to elevate the garment off the surface, but this is an optional. If you have no wire rack at home or this is not available, then you cannot use either. But if you have, then it is much better. Then we'll be using gloves to avoid stains. Then, finally, we will use zip top bags or Ziploc bags. Okay, this one. Also, I suggest you can use you can use plastic wrap. Take note, always work outside or on a protected surface. Then, be sure to wear old clothes or aprons. This is to avoid stains. If you do not have aprons, then as I've said, you can use your old clothes. Okay, so wait a minute. Wear gloves so that the dye won't stain your hands. It's okay if you're not going to use gloves, but as suggested, for safety, you're going to use. It is required. Always remember to use safety materials and tools, because it is to make sure that you're going to work with safety and cannot cause any troubles. Here, Wait for a while. Okay. Again, I have here apron. If you do not have apron, then old clothes will do. Then gloves. Okay? Now, are you ready to learn how to dye, kids? How to dye your clothes? Are you ready? Okay, then let's start. First and foremost, the first thing you'll need to do is to prepare all the materials and the surface you will work. So now I will going to keep these things because I will cover the surface or the table. I will cover it with plastic trash bags.
Yes, as you can see, it is large.
Okay, we are all set, and yes, all the materials and tools are complete. So, what are we waiting for? Let's start, kids. The first thing we need to do is to pre-wash the garment here. So, again, kids, the first step that we do is prepare all the materials, set up the working surface, and then we pre-wash the garment here. Then step 2, we're going to mix the dyes and pre-soak the garment if necessary. So, in mixing dyes, I will use all the colors. It is because it is necessary for the style that I will be working. And we have the squeeze bottles here. This is the red one. Now, when mixing the dyes, all you need to do is to add water, a little water. This is neutral. Yes. And then, you also need a warm water, little warm water. Just enough to make it stick. Yes.
Make sure you will stir or shake it well.
Alright, when you're done mixing all the dyes, all the colors that you will be using, you need to pre-soak your garment within 15 minutes. And when time is up, squeeze your garment, squeeze the excess solution so that the garment is damp but not dripping wet. So you'll need to exert some force so that it will not have any water or not dripping wet. So you're going to this one like this. Step 3, we are now going to fold and tie the garment or this shirt. Okay, Put it flat on the surface. Now listen. There's a lot of techniques or styles you can do, kids, but this time I will show you the spiral style or spiral pattern of dyeing. Okay. First, you need to pinch the shirt in the middle and twist either clockwise or counterclockwise. It is depending on your preference, but in my case, I will pinch it into clockwise position or pattern. The more you twist, the more the fabric will begin to endure around the center. So just take your time. It's even better if you can make your spiral fold extra tight, and if you make the pleats, make it small and consistent. The result will be nice. And we're done folding the fabric, so let's secure it with rubber bands or strong string. For the fourth step, we need to apply the dye. There are many ways to apply the dye to the fabric. You can dip the garment into buckets of dye, or you can apply the dye directly to the fabric with squeeze bottles, just like what we are using. Then we can also use paint brushes or sponges. It's up to you. You can use as many or as few colors as you want. You add to adjust the intensity of the colors by changing the dye to water ratio. If you want more pastel colors, then you can add more water to the dye mixture. You can do it if it is necessary. Then, when applying the dye, consider color placement. Of course, think back to art class and the concept of the color wheel. We are all familiar with that, right?
Colors placed next to each other will bleed together at the border, creating new colors. Just say, for example, red placed next to yellow will create orange. Green placed next to blue will create teal. So, we need to use appropriate tools for applying the dye because it is not easy to apply the dye when the right tool is lack or absent. Step 5. Let the dye set. Once you have finished applying the dye, you need to give it time to react with the fabric. It's important to keep the fabric damp and relatively warm. It is because the warmer the temperature of the fabric, the quicker the dye reaction. That's why. Now, I recommend placing the dyed fabric in a plastic bag or wrap it in plastic wrap. Place the wrapped fabric in a sunny spot and let the dye process for at least 6 to 8 hours. For the brightest colors, you can let the dye cure for up to 24 hours.
Now it's time to dye the sock. Again, let's pre-wash. So let's pre-soak the sock so that it will not be dripping in. So let's fold like this, and we're going to tie. There's a lot of style also. You can choose, kids, whether what style you're going to do. You just can fold it, fold and fold, and tie it with the use of strong strings or rubber bands.
You can also stitch if you like. Here.
For the last step, finally, you need to rinse, wash, and wear your garment. One of the keys to getting the cleanest, brightest colors is the washing out process, so take your time here.